This episode is brought to you by Barry's Bullets. Barry's Bullets was actually my very first sponsor, and they're out of St. George, Utah, which is my hometown. They have been supporting me for the past 11 years, and they're one of my favorite sponsors. And they are very excited and very proud to be helping me work my way towards handgun world shoots. Today we're going to be talking to owner Tony Barry, manager of marketing Justin Taylor, and we're going to do a quick factory tour. So enjoy this episode.
All right, my name is Justin Taylor. I'm the marketing and sales manager for Barry's Manufacturing. And today we're going to do a factory tour of what we do here at Barry's. We're going to start here in the injection molding facility. This is where we manufacture all of our plastic parts, all of our injection molded products and tools used for reloading and for the process of helping people develop their ammunition at their home. So this is our injection molding facility. In here we have roughly, it's either 9 or 10 injection molding presses. Back when I started at Barry's, I think we only had 3 or 4 when I started 15 years ago. It's kind of cool to see how this has evolved and grown into the amount of parts that we can do. But we can do parts as small as ballistic tips for bullets, or as big as like our brass media separator, our ammo cans, our range boxes, any of those larger plastic items that we produce, we have the ability to make all here in-house. One thing that's great about it is that we have a CNC shop that we'll see here later that supports and assists the mold facility in their work. We can make any of our own molds here. We can work on any of the molds that we have here if we need to make changes or modifications. It really provides flexibility for us to be able to make the products that we need and to develop them. One thing we like to try to do is have automation in order to make the process as efficient as possible. So in this case, we've got a ladder belt that catches the product as it comes out. It's going to roll up there and fall into a bin where it'll be inspected later for quality purposes and for going out to the customer. Each mold operates and runs at a different time. So the machine automates all of that, makes all of that happen in the sense that it needs to. We have in some cases that we'll see here in a minute where we have robot automation that'll pick the part out or take the excess part out, the sprues from the plastic parts, and discard it. We try to utilize every bit of plastic that we can. So any of the excess that we have from parts, we can regrind it and use it again in other parts. So we try to eliminate as much waste as possible through that process. So right here, the robotic arm is going to reach in there and pull out that excess sprue and dump it off of the other side. The new part will fall down into the catch basket here, where later it'll be inspected for quality, it'll be insured for fit, and then it'll be packaged to go to the warehouse so that it can go out to the customer. Again, the automation helps us to be able to run machines with less manpower. We can leave it overnight if we need to, if it's a big run. It helps us to be more efficient in getting the product and everything out to the customer as efficiently as possible. Back here against the back wall is where our mold storage is. So any of the molds that we manufacture and we produce product on are housed here and kept here. Some of these weigh as much as 3,000–4,000 pounds, depending on their size. It's a pretty intricate process to get them into the machine, but it's one we take very seriously in order to make sure that everything runs efficiently in the best way that it can. Again, most of these molds here we produced ourselves. Built ourselves back in the shop. We do sometimes get outside mold work done, but only because we're too busy to get to it ourselves. But a lot of it, the vast majority of it, is done here in-house. The nice thing about having the shop and about having the molds here on site is if there's ever any issues with it, we can jump on it right away. We can get it fixed right away. If we need to modify it or change it, we can do all of that here in-house to cut down on the downtime on being able to have that product available and have it ready for the customer. So Barry's has been located here in Utah for roughly 30 years. Originated in Southern California. As the company grew and as needs required, they decided to move the production facility up here to Utah. It's been here ever since. It started originally with just this one building, and it has progressively grown into the buildings here that you see in the entire property. We try to do our best to accommodate the entire process the best that we can in order to be able to produce our projectiles. The majority of our projectiles are made via electroplating. So instead of a cup and core jacketed round, we'll take a swaged lead core and we'll electroplate the copper around it, ensuring complete copper cover or complete lead coverage, so there's no lead exposure. It reduces fouling in your firearm. It allows for it to produce and to run as efficiently and as best as it possibly can. We're going to take a look. We're going to start over here at the beginning of the process and kind of walk you through how we make and produce bullets. So when we get our lead for our bullets, it arrives in the bundles that you see here. Depending on the bullet and depending on the round, we have different contents of lead, and we separate it here. We keep track of it here in order to make sure that we're getting the right lead into the right bullet. It's all managed by lot number, and it's kept track of by the guys inside, so they know which lead they're going to use for which round, depending on what the production capability of it is. This is where the bullet starts, from the lead bars that we looked at outside, and they're made and made into slugs and swayed into slugs. From here, we'll take these buckets over here to the punch press side, and when they go through that punch press, they come out as a swaged bullet. So now we've got the profile of what we need to get started with the bullet. From here, these bullets will make their way to the building next door into the plating department, and that's where we apply the copper and we get it done. But all of these machines are running different calibers based on whatever our production needs are at this time. This first machine is our 9mm 115 machine. That machine has never been changed from 9/115s for longer than I've worked here. I've been here 15 years. It's always ran 9/115s. Never been anything different from that. It's by far our longest running machine. It produces our best-selling bullet, which is our 9/115 round nose. The different presses operate at different speeds and different setups depending on the size of the bullets. So the bigger bullets, their process is going to be a little bit slower than the faster moving 9s. The 9s are smaller, so they're going to run through quite fast. Again, like we do in the injection molding facility, we try to recycle and pick up as much as we can. We can take the lead and reuse it in our process in order to get it into the machine. But our efficiency is a huge thing for us here. The more efficient we are, the better we're able to offer our bullets at cost, and a higher quality bullet is produced through that machine. So cutting corners isn't a thing that we try to do here at Barry's. So what we'll do is we'll go next door to the plating area and we'll see how where that takes place. But all of this moves to that building next door. So all of these stations that you see here, they're actually baths. They've got different chemicals and different solutions in it that help and aid in our process. The first tanks that you see here in the green, this is our prep and wash section. So what we'll do is we'll take these lead bullets in these buckets. They'll be loaded into the barrels that you see there on that red stand. We'll set them in there, and this is where we prep the bullets before they go into the plating bath, which is on the far side. At the far side of that facility, those baths are filled with, there's baskets that dangle in there that are filled with copper ingots, and the copper then goes into that, charged with electricity, and the chemical process occurs that adheres the copper. Depending on the bullet, dictates how long it will stay in the bath. So typically, like in the case of our 9mm, there's a lot of them, so there's a lot of bearing surface. They're going to be in there for a long time. So anywhere from several hours to 15 to 20 hours, just depending on what bullet it is, determines how long that it sits in that bath. Our crew in here monitors and keeps track of all of the levels across the board throughout the process to ensure consistency. That way we make sure that we're getting the very, very best bullet out to the customer that we possibly can. That if they buy a box today versus a month from now, they're getting the exact same bullet. It'll run through their loading machine. They'll have everything that they need to be successful in their ammo production. Once they're done in the bath, they'll take them out, and then they take them to the far end to another wash station where they'll wash off all the chemical, get it ready to go back next door to the building next door to where they'll be restruck, and we'll go over that in just a second. So they trail off and they taper off down there. They're loaded back into buckets here, and from there they're lift trucked back to the other building in order to get the copper on it. As you can see, different bullets of different sizes here tell us with the traveler tags how long they need to be in the baths, what they need in order to be produced, and where they sit. But larger bullets don't take as long because they're bigger, and it allows us to really keep a fine tune on how much copper goes on every single bullet. We want to make sure that we've got the same amount, depending on caliber, of copper on every bullet, so that again we got uniformity, we've got exacting measurements so that when it goes through the loading press there's no issues whatsoever. So what the restrike process does is it's basically the same as what we did on the other side with the swage. It's driving that bullet up into a die and it's relieving it of all the imperfections that may have occurred with plating. So if the plating got a little bit, in tiny microscopic changes in thickness or anything like that, what this does is it forms the bullet to exactly where we want to be. So now we can load it. Now it can go into your reloading press at home. It can go into the loaded ammunition and it'll function. As they come out, they're counted and loaded into the boxes that you see here. But we don't base our information strictly off the counter. What we'll do is at each station they'll bring a scale over and they'll weigh each box and make sure that the box weighs what it's supposed to. Bullets it's an exact science with bullets. You got to be as close as you can in grain weight in order to be able to achieve a safe round to shoot. So we know exactly in each box what it should weigh within a certain spec that allows us and tells us that the counter got it right and that it can go to the customer with everything that it needs. But all of that happens here once they're done and they've confirmed that the quality checks are good, the bullet passes our inspections. They'll load them into these pallets, and then these pallets will go next door to our warehouse where they'll be ready for shipping. They'll be either inventoried or put together in an order to go out to our customers. So this is our warehouse. This is where everything comes that we produce, where it's put together for orders for our customers. This section right here handles our bulk bullets. So our large pack bullets, whether it's our 1,000 counts, our 500 counts, they're all contained in these gaylords and pallets that you see here. Each bay from here to the floor is rated for 3,300 pounds. So if you take an average of that down this aisle, there's a lot of weight sitting here on these racks. This is not the aisle you want to be down in the event of an earthquake. But don't worry, the engineers have assured us that it's able to withstand that the way that they're put together and they're constructed. Depending on what our needs are for the order, we'll take. Our computer system tells us at each location what bullets it is at each location. We can pull it down, we can get out what we need. Sometimes in the case of our large ammunition manufacturers, they'll take whole pallets of stuff. So we'll pull it down, it'll be prepped and weighed for shipping over here by the crew, and then shipped out to wherever the destination might be. These other aisles over here contain our other products. We do have some other bullet storage. We have an aisle that's kind of dedicated to our internet sales and what we sell direct over here. More bullets, more of the products, but it's all kept on the racking and everything that you see in here. Our ammo boxes and a lot of our plastic injection molding parts are kept on that end of the building that you see here. But this is our processing station. So the station over here is where all of our post, our FedEx, our UPS shipments go out. These two stations here operate our freight shipments, our big truck shipments. So they'll be weighed, they're checked for everything that they need to for the shipment as far as that goes. They're banded, put together. These guys do a lot of really good work in here in making sure that the orders that go out to our customers are exact, are in the shape that they need to be in order to make it. It's a good thing. Well, he's a character. That's why he hides behind there. We try to do our best to keep him out of the way. All right. So this is the CNC shop. We do a lot of different things in here. First and foremost, we use this shop to support all of our production activities on both our injection molding line and the bullet line. Because of the capabilities we have in here, if a machine goes down, if it needs maintenance or if it needs a new part, a lot of the times we can produce that and make that in here. So again, we're not waiting for turnaround from another vendor. We're not trying to chase down parts. We can handle most of it here. All of the service, all of the work done on our molds is done here. So if we're making a new mold, they'll produce and do all of that work in here at these stations, and then on our lathes and our mills that you see here. In addition to all of the stuff that we do for ourselves, we also manufacture parts outside of Barry's. So we have a lot of exterior customers that buy things from us. We make medical parts. We've done diesel performance parts for companies. We've done a lot of different things for different industries and different areas. We've got a full capability to be able to make anything that we need to with the CNC capabilities that we do in here. Our Pro Marksman and our Barry's modular shooting systems are all produced in here. So they're machined, they're made and manufactured all here in the shop. It's one thing that we pride ourselves on, being made in America. So depending on the job, each machine is set up by the operator and put together there. The engineering department provides them with all of that information so that they can run the machines. They're set up, they're left to run, the parts will come out. Everything done in this room is pretty awesome to see the innovation and the technology at work while it makes the stuff that it does. But yeah, CNC's been a big part of what we've done for our entire history. We've always tried to be able to make and to produce and to provide ourselves with our own support for all of our machines, be able to work on them when we need to. Obviously we can't do everything in here, but we do our best to try to make sure that the vast majority of what we make and what we need for our machines can be done in here. It just helps us in our turnaround and in our efficiency.
Don't put me on that camera.
It's too late, dude. Harley's actually he's actually the manager of this department. So when it falls apart, it's his fault. When they do good, it's not his problem.
It doesn't ever do that though.
All of that stuff, but yep. So this is our test lab or our test range. So if we ever have anything that we need to work on, test, develop, we do it all here in the range. Kind of a mess. We've been doing some work on some new bullets and testing some new ideas that we've got going. But down here we're able to load what we need to. We have the high-speed camera that we can take video of anything that we need. In the instance of our defense hollow points, we've got the gel blocks set up that we can shoot into to make sure that they're performing correctly. Or if we're in development of new products, we can do all of that. The trap at the end of the room there catches everything for us to keep us safe. The barrier wall keeps anything that may bounce back from hitting us. We can set up a shield in there that allows us to be behind it so that nothing gets at us. But yeah, this is the test range. This is actually where all the fun stuff starts. If I could spend the majority of my time at work, I would do it down here. I think it would be awesome. We try to do lot tests on the majority of our lots just to make sure that they function. Pretty quick and easy process. We just come down, crank a few out, shoot them, make sure that they're working right, and then put them, it allows us to know that they're ready to go out from a quality perspective.
A little background with Barry's. My grandfather started the company in 1961 out of his garage in Glendora, California. He did that for a while, moved it to Fontana. That's when my dad bought the business. When my dad was about 20 years old, my grandfather had a explosion that he lost his eyesight and his hearing. So my dad took over when he was 20 and took it left it in Fontana for years and then moved it up here about 30 years ago to St. George, Utah. In 2015, me and my wife, Sheila, bought the business from my dad and Irma Berry, and we've been running it ever since, and we're proud of the family-owned business, and hopefully we can, someday our boys will run the business is our hope and dream, so keep going at it. Yeah, I can remember meeting Jay Lease, she must have been 2013, 2014. We didn't have a shooting team. Jay Phillips came to me and said, hey, you got to check these young girls out. They're just going to be good for our sport. They've got good parents. They've got great attitudes. And I was like, well, yeah, let's meet them. And I met with them, and I was impressed then because of just how well put together they were and respectful. yeah, to see what she's done competing against the men that are out there that are just grandmaster shooters, and how she can go out there and just compete with those guys day in and day out. Now going to the World Shoot, we're excited for her. She represents Berries. She's everything that we want as a person representing us. We're very excited for her, and I'm sure she's going to do great. I just want to say good luck and shoot straight.
So we'd been shooting with Jay Phillips, who was the marketing director back when we first started shooting. And we'd been shooting with him for a couple of months, and he went to my parents and he was like, hey, like, I'd love for the girls to meet Tony Berry, and I think that they could get a little sponsorship out of it. Like, they are showing tremendous growth and opportunity. I want to be part of it. So we met with Tony here and I thought the meeting went really well. And then I believe my parents got a phone call maybe a week later, and we were sponsored by Berries. It was a handshake agreement, and I was so excited, so stoked. It was like my first sponsorship. It was my first sponsorship. It was a lot of responsibility. My parents made sure to let me know, like, you have commitments now. Like, you can't just decide tomorrow you don't want to shoot anymore. Like, you need to honor your commitments. You need to represent this company well on and off the range, and I owe a lot of my career to that beginning sponsorship.
Yeah, I mean, we were all new to this, and the girls were our first ones that we ever sponsored, and so I didn't know what to really expect, except, you know, they were young and cute, and but they were good shooters. They were, I mean, and we were impressed with the way they held themselves, and their parents were just definitely held them to a certain degree of professionalism. And I'll be honest, ever since then, you guys have pretty much set the goal of what we look for in shooters. And so when we're looking at people, we look at people that have respect, and but you've kind of set the mark for who we're looking for and who we go after.
Good, yeah, I mean, definitely having strong core values and responsibility and honor, I think, is really important in professional shooting and representing companies. That's something I definitely look for when looking for other sponsorships and stuff. I look at the brand and its core values and stuff, and I do align it a lot against Berries, because Berries is what I started out with, and they've continued that honor and that core value throughout their company all these years. So I definitely do hold Berries as the standard.
From the perspective of a marketing standpoint and Jay-Lisa's involvement in what we do, she brings a light and a power to what we try to offer and present as what Berries is all about. She fits the mold perfectly. She's kind of the all-American girl, where she was raised, how she was brought up, really fits into the value system that we want to point out the direction of our business abilities and everything that we do here. She accomplishes that flawlessly. I never have to worry about what she's doing, how she's presenting herself or carrying herself when she's representing our company. It's actually a very, very easy thing for me to work with Jay-Lise. I've had the privilege of working with her for, you know, a little bit more than 10 years, probably around 10 years now, since I took over this position. But through a lot of, you know, attending the matches and watching how she presents herself and how she carries herself in a world that is dominated by men and guys, she holds her own. She's awesome on the range. She's really good with other shooters. And it's amazing to me to see people that have been shooting for a really long time and that have been around guns for probably a heck of a lot longer than she has, come to this young lady for advice and for help because they recognize her talents and her abilities. And that, to me, is a fantastic, strong representation of what I want people to see when they think of Berries. I want them to be able to know that those people are the kinds of people that we want shooting our rounds. It fits in with our American values and everything that we do as a company.
Yeah, Berries has always been a company. We've been in growth for the last 30 years. It just seems like every time we think, no, we're good in our space, something happens and we need more space, we need more machines, and so it's always been really good. Right now we employ about 85 people, a lot of very good employees, and we just look for it to keep growing. Yeah, here at Barry's we definitely want to say we're all made in the USA. We're very proud to employ the people we have, and I think the people we have really enjoy their jobs because we have I don't want to say a good time, but we're relaxed. We want everybody to enjoy themselves. It's like a big family. But we are proud of the Made in America. We're going to strive to be made in America. We've got new products coming out in the next year or so, and we just want to be American made.